Hey guys, welcome back to our exercises. We were finishing this cabin up. We're looking at this fireplace here that we established last time, and we're also looking at how we centered this closet. We ended with that, so we're going to go ahead and continue where we left off. So another thing I'm going to go ahead and try to teach you is if you select all your interior walls, which we're doing right now, what we want to do is filter out our selection and make sure we're only selecting our walls. One thing we didn't do when we were doing our interior walls was to make sure that their top constraint was set at the same point, which is top of plate. So our top of plate for the interior wall matches with our exterior walls. So once that happens, these should finish out much nicer. Once we have the walls finished out, we're going to go ahead and focus on trying to place windows in here. So under the architectural tab, build panel, we can select windows, or we can type in WN to get into windows. So WN to get into windows. Now what I'm looking at in particular is what type of windows I'm going to place. All the windows that I'm going to have to be double hung, because single hung windows are out of question, and fixed trim won't make any sense in a cabin that's light and airy. So I'm going to go ahead and select the window that is the closest. So we need a 3 foot by 4 foot window. We can start with anything. So let's go ahead and start with 24 by 42. We don't want this window type, so I'm going to select edit type. This will alter the window. Now what I'm looking at is to change its name. So I'm going to duplicate this window and I'm going to call it 30 by 40 by 40 double hung window, which translates to 3 foot by 4 foot window. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the width to reflect that. So 3 foot wide by 4 feet tall, 3 feet, 4 feet, and this will give us the exact dimensions for the window. It automatically opens and creates the rough opening, rough widths. We already have such as U values, R value for the windows. All of this is established. Now, if you have a proprietary brand that you're using, you can feed all of this information in. And if your rough opening needs to be bigger, that can be done as well. I'm going to go ahead and hit apply, press OK. Now that we have this 40 double hung window, I'm going to go ahead and place it. Now, you always want the casement to be inside, the window always facing outwards. I'm going to place it. And since this is a wood frame construction, all of the windows are going to be placed from the center of the windows. Again, if this was a masonry construction, we are going to be placing them where we can actually measure out the rough opening for the CMU block to be cut out. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and make it 2 foot 2 inches. That places that window in here. Then I'm going to go ahead and place the same window on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this across. You can copy it or you can place it. I'm going to CO to copy. And then if you don't know how to do CO, you're going to go under modify and go under the modify panel and select copy. I'm going to go ahead and hit CO, select from here, and just bring a window here. It needs to be hosted on a wall, therefore it's snapping to the wall. But we do need to be precise. What is being specified in the AutoCAD drawing is I am actually trying to make that the reality. This should be 9 foot 5. I'm going to select the window. Since I already have my dimension here, I'm going to modify that. Don't modify the temporary dimension because that is being measured to the center of the wall. Always know where your witness lines are ending. So I'm going to go ahead and select here, select 9 foot 5, slide the window over. There we have our 2 windows here. We're going to go ahead and place the same window here. So can I copy this across? Watch what happens when I copy this window across. You see how it doesn't copy into another plane? Because that's the work plane that you're working with. So it's better to place windows than to copy them across onto different panels. So architectural tab, build, and windows. Now, if this was a straight wall with multiple windows, I would definitely copy them over. Again, making sure that our windows faces outward. Just place your windows where they need to go. Then I need a 20 by 26. I'm going to go ahead and DI. Originally, if I was to be doing this as a custom design, I would place all my windows first, and again, we come back and modify it as necessary. I'm going to select this, and it's being specified as 6 feet. I'm going to go ahead and specify that, 6 foot, 0 inches. And before we go to a different window, let's finish all our 30 by 40s. So I have 2 more additional 30 by 40s on this side. Let's go ahead and place them here and here. And again, we're going to come back and dimension them as necessary. I have another 30 by 40 window on this side of the room. So let's go ahead and place that as well. So I got those windows in. I'm going to go back to my windows, select here, and then let's look at a 20 by 26. Do I have a 20 by 26? I do not have a 20 by 26. So I'm going to go ahead and modify again. I'm going to simply select one of the windows, edit type, duplicate, and this is a similar process to how you would be creating your own custom windows. So let's go ahead and do 20 by 26, 20, which is 2 feet by 2 feet 6 inches. Press OK. 2 feet by 2 feet 6. That is a misconception. So 2026 literally means 2 feet 0 inches by 2 feet 6 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and press OK. We do have a duplicate name of 2026. Press OK. Now I have this window 2026. We're going to go ahead and place one right here in the center of the room. Notice how it automatically snaps there. Then we're going to go ahead and place a 24 by 30. So let's go ahead and make that happen. So go under edit type. We're going to be looking at duplicate 24 by 30. Press OK. Wait. 24 by 30. Go ahead and make that 2 feet 4 inches by 3 feet. Again, common misconception here. Double hung, DH, press apply, press OK. Let's place our 24 by 30 windows in. I'm going to go ahead and place them in first, and then we're going to go ahead and get them centered and ready to go. So making sure the windows always faces outwards. Another thing you guys probably have noticed, that is carving out the place for itself. And then lastly, we have a window that is 28 by 30. So let's go ahead and get that one done as well. So I'm going to go ahead and hit edit type one more time. And I'm going to duplicate this window, make it 28 by 30. At this point in time, you should be used to making windows very, very quickly. Again, 2 foot 8 inches. Press OK. And again, we have yet to dimension and get them exactly where we need them. But we do have a good rough idea. It has been centering. Revit has been working for us. So I'm going to go ahead and place a window here. And that should be just about all our windows. So we had these situated so far. We placed this one right where we need to. Then this window from the center to center is 4 foot 9. So I'm going to go ahead, do DI, go from center of that window to center of that window is 4 foot 9 1/4. I think Revit here is more accurate than actual AutoCAD. So I might even stick with this dimension, but if you want to take away the quarter, you can go 4 foot 9, because again, we want to stay true to our AutoCAD drawing. So that's that. Then let's go ahead and dimension here, DI. I'm going to tab select, get to the center of that window, place that here. And then I'm going to go ahead and select the window and move it over to 5 foot 10 1/2. Always starting to look like a real building already. Small cabin going about just very, very quickly. This is centered. I'm assuming it should be centered, but again, I could DI as usual and make sure it goes from here, center, and then center here is exactly 2 feet. And again, if you want to cause a constraint, no matter how big this wall gets, this stays equal, you can hit this EQ sign here, which will always make this equal. So no matter how far I expand this wall out, let's automatically assume that I make this wall bigger, the window would stay center and stay equal distance. But again, I have a wall that's being interrupted. Revit is letting me know that I have an error. I'm going straight through a window. So I'm gonna go ahead and cancel this instance. But this is just to demonstrate that you have placed a constraint on your actual window by allowing that EQ to occur. And again, this would go partly into your dimension string. So far we have overall dimensions, ins and outs, and then we went with windows. And again, we have other windows to dimension here. So let's go ahead and do those. I'm gonna DI. Now, see dimensions as like flow of water. That's how I look at them. I'm gonna simply select these windows and I'm gonna make the spaces how it needs to be. 1 foot 10 inches. And these dimensions are coming directly from the book. These are coming directly from page 460. Making sure we're clearing our mantle, doing the same thing on the other side, making it 1 foot 10 from the interior face to the center of the window. And I'm always creating my own dimensions as using the witness lines coming off the windows themselves. So now I know exactly where this window is. I know exactly where this window is. I've yet to dimension these windows, so let's go ahead and take care of those as well. And right now I am not being super methodical. If this was a much larger building, I would be significantly keeping an eye on it, going very, very methodically from left to right, going all around the building, making sure I'm not missing any of my windows from being placed where they need to be. And then I'm making sure as I'm selecting these windows that I'm always altering my dimension, not the temporary dimension provided that's going to the center of the wall. 2 foot dash 9 inches. And then this window here from the center is 3 foot 3.5 inches. With a very small mullion in the middle. 2 feet. This wall is centered. This wall is working. So is that window. And that's about it. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the doors. Now something that is weird about going from AutoCAD to Revit is whenever you draw walls, especially in AutoCAD, you hesitate to draw them all the way through because that's where the doors are going to go. Unlike AutoCAD, we can actually take the walls and just take it straight to the actual walls. Because when we place a door in, it acts like a host object and it cuts out the opening for you. So in this case, I can actually leave the bifold doors just like how they're supposed to be. But over here, I will continue these walls across, making sure that they connect with the walls across from them. Therefore, we can actually have this dialogue of, oh, this is going to be a linen closet, this is going to be such and such, and we can actually finish out these corners. Now, if you do have an issue with the corners not finishing, you can move this point back and forth, or you can go to the modify panel and you can go under where it has this trim and extend corner. And when you do trim and extend, you are actually selecting the walls you want to keep, and it will combine those two together. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and fix some of the walls that requires doors. So over here we would have a door, and over here we would have a door. So I want to place doors where they need to be based on the walls that are placed there. Next, we're going to go ahead and start placing in our door. Under the architectural tab, build panel, you can select door, or you can go under DR command, and this will allow you to access doors. So now we have WN for windows, DR for doors. Now all my doors are residential. All of them are single panels, single flush doors. These are all fairly simple doors. Only thing I'm going to differentiate is when it comes to the exterior doors, we might need to pull some in as family, and we're going to probably be pulling it in from our library. And if you don't have them in your library, I'm probably going to provide them into the description so you can actually download them and actually place them into your model. So let's go ahead and start with our interior doors. So the first door I'm going to use is going to be a 30 by 80 door. This would make it a 2'6" door by an 80-inch door. Now you can get them in 84, you can get a 96 if you have high enough ceiling. But I think proportionally speaking, we want to have a door that actually works out in a manner where it's small enough for the cabin. So I think proportionally this might look right. Now again, you can double verify and actually look at this door in 3D and say, hey, is it making any sense? And in all capacity, I think 84 would be too big for this actual cabin. So I'm going to go back here. Now, another thing they have specified is how far away am I from the actual door jamb to provide space for the door jamb. And what they're trying to do is make sure that the doors are placed in a manner where the door jambs are exactly 4 inches, right? I would specifically make it at least 3.5, 4 inches, because you're going to have a jack stud and a king stud that would frame that opening. So I'm going to go ahead and delete my 4-inch here after I place my door there, and we can specify this. And then same door would go on this wall. So I'm going to go under DR or architectural tab, build panel doors. Again, it's fast to go that way. I'm going to always use my space bar to rotate my door from left to right, and then I can move my cursor on one side of the wall to the other side of the wall to make sure that my door is placed in that right manner. So now I have door 1, door 2, and again, these are taking on their own tags because they are individual doors. And there is a way, once we get to actual door schedule, we will specify where the doors should be. And then I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this is typically 4 inches. It's just a very, very tight space. Again, we're following protocols here, making sure we adhere as closely to the AutoCAD drawings as possible. And again, 4 inches don't make any sense here. I'm going to go ahead and center this door. And the way I'm going to center it is I'm going to go ahead and use DI. I'm going to tab, select this side of the wall, select the door, select this side of the wall. And then I'm going to go ahead and select the door and make sure that's equal, or I can select the actual dimension and set EQ, which would force the door to be equal, and then I can delete the dimension. This is something that I teach, is when you delete the dimension, you want to make sure you unconstrain the door, because it's centered now, but it'll stay at the same point if you were to stretch this room out and make it bigger. Now I'm going to go ahead and place a 2-foot door there. So going back to door, DR, instead of 30 by 80, we're going to make sure that we have a 2 feet, 24 inches by 80. And since we don't have that door, we're going to have to create it. So in order to create it, we're going to go ahead and click Edit Type. And here we're going to duplicate door and call it 24 inches by 80 inches. By now, you guys should have a hang of understanding how properties are changed. And you can quickly change your widths. You can hit apply, press OK. You have a 2-foot door now. Hit space. Notice how it automatically updates. I'm making sure I'm on the right side. I'm also dimensioning to making sure that my door, whenever it is getting placed, that it has the right amount of distance, if possible. Again, for door 2, we had an issue. Now, by Revit standards, each one of these counts as individual doors. We already talked about this. I'm going to go ahead and call this door 3. We can get rid of the tags if it is too disruptive, but for now we have that. Exterior doors. So some of the doors that I have for exterior, they're not here. So for example, if I go under the DR command, under our residential, we have some double glass door. This is like a commercial door. We don't need a sliding door here. Single flush, and then single with raised panels. This would be for side lights. So we have sliding closets, And again, as you can see, we don't have many exterior doors, minus these skylights or side lights one. Let me see if there's a door that would work that actually meets this description. 36-inch by 80-inch. That's still way too wide. And again, we don't need side lights on here. So let's go ahead and get ourselves an exterior door. So we're going to do that by going under the Insert tab, Load Family. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys where your library should be. It's always located in your C drive under your program data. And you're going to go under Autodesk. Then you're going to go under Revit 2024. And you're going to find it under your libraries. And then there's multiple names for these libraries. Go to English Imperial, US. And we're going to be looking at our doors. So over here, you have all these categories. The reason you can't just bring all of these categories into your model is because it'll bog down your file. I'm going to look under residential. If I can find something there, there's pocket doors here, single flush door, glass door. I'm looking for some exterior doors. So I'm going to go automatically to door exterior. So I'm going to look at this half glass door that I can potentially use for like a secondary entrance that we have by the pantry. And then for the main entry, I kind of like this arch glass door. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this one in, arch glass, wood clad door. And I can say okay to all of these, or I can just select, hey, I'm going to be needing this 3-foot door. I need 36 by 84 or 36 by 80, right? I can select a very specific door to bring in, or I can say okay to all of them and just bring them all in as a category. But since I know I'm not going to be using all of the doors, I'm going to simply select the 36 by 80, press OK. And then I'm going to go ahead and go back to Load Family and then get my door exterior, get the flat glass one, and I'm going to press OK. And in this one, I guess the book specifies a 2-foot 8-inch door. So that's 32 by 80. We're going to go ahead and use that. Press OK. So now that we have both our doors, we can type in DR. Instantly go to our half glass exterior door 32 by 80. All your exterior doors in a residential property opens inward. Unlike commercial, they open outwards. For our arch glass, which is our main entry, is 36, which is by code, so you can allow for a wheelchair to come in, which opens up 32 5/8 of an inch. Making sure that this also opens towards the interior. And in this case, I don't want my door swing to go towards the windows, so I'll just leave it as such. Let's go ahead and center these doors. To me, I would love to have this door centered, but I also understand usability of space, and I really think we can shrink this space down to 4 inches as the book specified, which is probably the right decision here, to actually allow for trim, but at the same time having the door open towards the wall. Now this is very awkward to actually have this, to say the least, but again, we're going to make sure that we go from the jamb to the actual door exterior, and we can make this also 4 inches where we can. This way we have enough space for our jack and king stud. That concludes almost all the doors on the actual project, minus the one for the pantry and for our closet. And these are all bifolds. They are facing in one direction or the other. Now what I'm going to do for the pantry, we might just do a door that swings out, and it's a 2-foot door. And let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go under DR, and I'm going to go ahead and pick a 24-inch by 80-inch door that pretty much opens out. This door allows it to be a pantry that is more accessible. Again, I'm not a huge fan of bifold doors, and I knew I would alter the design of this cabin one way or another. So it starts now with this door. And then for here, I want to create a single pocket door here. And the reason being because bifold in a closet looks god awful. So I'm going to go ahead and go under Insert, Load Family, and keeping under Residential, There is door interior single pocket doors right here. I can go ahead and press open. And I need the 24-inch by 80-inch door, man. That's the 2-foot door that I need. And it's a single pocket, so it's gonna go right here. I can go under DR, and I'm gonna look for my single pocket door that's 24 inches. I just brought that in. Single pocket, 24-inch by 80-inch. I'm gonna go ahead and place that there, center of the closet. And then one here. I don't want to disturb the exterior walls. That's why I'm having the actual pocket go towards this way. But for structural integrity, if you want to switch it around and have this wall be more stable for this door swing, again, we're thinking about this stuff as we're going. So I can go ahead and flip it this way, and it doesn't alter it by too much. I can center this door, DI, tab, and select this, centering this door to this wall, and it automatically does that for me. But I can also create a constraint on the actual dimension by actually selecting that dimension and clicking EQ and then deleting it to remove the constraints. So now we have all our doors and our windows in. So this is what the end result of the project should look like at this point, where we have all our doors placed in there, all our windows have been placed in there. Now, there are some discrepancies that can happen from the mantle. We are going to address that in the next exercise. But as of now, we have pretty much our cabin near completion, where you have all these doors trims that are meeting. You have all your sliding doors that are working, and our exterior looking pretty nice. With that said, this concludes this exercise. Follow for more content.